Good morning, children. This is lecture 2 of chapter Structure of Atom. In this lecture, we will study about the Bohr's model of atom and followed up developments. Shortcoming of Rutherford's model of atom. Rutherford's model of atom cannot address the stability of an atom. Electrons are much lighter as compared to the protons and nucleus as a whole. Since electrons are rotating in high speed in the orbit, they should fall on the nucleus. Because suppose this is a nucleus and the electrons are revolving in the orbit. So in this case, it should fall in the nucleus like this. Okay, like this, it should fall in the nucleus. But it is not happening. Okay, they should fall on the nucleus and the atomic structure should collapse. However, in practice, this does not happen. So Rutherford's model of atom is unable to address the structural stability of atom. This necessitated yet another model which could address this. Bohr's model of atom was proposed in this perspective. This is also called as the modern model of atom. Bohr's model of atom. In 1913, Niels Bohr proposed a new model of atom in which electrons in an atom are arranged in concentric circular orbits around the nucleus. Bohr's model is essentially a modified version of Rutherford's model. The main features of Bohr's model of atom are: Number 1, an atom comprises 3 subatomic particles, electron, proton and neutron. Number 2, the nucleus of an atom comprises proton and neutrons, collectively called nucleons. You know about it. The nucleus of an atom comprises proton and neutrons, and collectively it is called nucleons. Next, electrons have negligible mass. Most of the mass of an atom is centered at the nucleus. Next, an atom is electrically neutral. The number of electrons and protons are same. Already I have explained this to you. Next, electrons in an atom move around the nucleus in circular orbits, which are called shells. Next point, this orbit or shells are also called energy levels, as each shell has an energy associated with it. Each shell is having a particular energy. The orbit nearest to the nucleus is called has energy E1. Next orbit is E2 and so on. The shell nearest to the nucleus has the lowest energy and the one farthest from the nucleus has the highest energy. That means suppose this is a nucleus and this is the first shell and this is a second shell. So this first shell is having the energy E1. The second shell is having the energy E2 and so on. And this E1 is having the lowest energy. And the shell which is farthest from the nucleus is having the highest energy. Next is the shells are also designated as KLMN. That means suppose this is the nucleus, this is one shell, this is second shell, and this is third shell. This first shell is known as K, the second one is known as L, and the third one is known as M, the fourth one is N, like that. Okay. As long as an electron remains in an orbit, it does neither lose nor gain energy. If it is moving in a particular orbit, it neither lose nor gain any energy. When an electron absorbs energy, it may move from lower energy level to higher energy level. That means, suppose an electron is moving in L shell, somehow it is absorbing some amount of energy, it can move to M shell in that case, if it is absorbing some amount of energy. And similarly, when an electron loses energy in the form of emission, it is emitting energy, sometimes it happens, then it may drop down from higher energy level to lower energy level. So just the reverse of the previous one. Suppose an electron is moving in M shell and it is emitting some amount of energy, then it may drop down from M shell to L shell. Okay, because M is in the higher energy level than the L. Next is the transition from one energy level to another through absorption or emission of energy takes place only when absorption of any emission involves a definite amount of energy. This is happening only when the electrons, they're absorbing a definite amount of energy or they're losing a definite amount of energy. That particular definite amount of energy is known as quantum. There's a new word, quantum. They have to emit or they have to absorb particular energy, that is a quantum of energy, and then only they can move from one energy level to another energy level. That is, it can go up or it can come down. But it has to emit or absorb a certain amount of energy. That is the quantum of energy. The structural stability of an atom. Electrons move in their own shells having definite amount of energy. I already told you about it. Under normal conditions, electrons neither gain nor lose energy and remain in their own shell. This is very important. Under normal conditions, electrons neither gain nor lose any amount of energy and they are remaining in their own shells. Now, attractive force experienced by the nucleus towards electron is counterbalanced by the centrifugal force experienced by the electrons due to their circular movement, and hence they do not fall on the nucleus and the atom is stable. This is called structural stability of an atom, which could not be explained by Rutherford model of atom. What actually it is saying, suppose this is the nucleus and the electron is moving in this orbit. Now there is a force, attractive force between the nucleus and the electron. Because the nucleus is having positive charge, because the proton is present there, and electrons are having negative charge. So there is always an attraction between the nucleus and the electrons. So why the electron is not falling, not getting attracted towards the nucleus, and it is just moving in its own orbit. Because it is true that there is an attractive force experienced by the nucleus towards the electron. That is counterbalanced by, as the electron is moving in the orbit, so there is a force which is acting in the outside, which is known as centrifugal force, which is normal to this force. So they counterbalance each other. Okay, which is tangentially. This force is acting tangentially to the orbit. Okay, the direction of the force is the tangentially it is acting. And these two forces, this attractive force and this centrifugal force, they counterbalance each other, and that is why the electrons are keep on moving in its own orbit and atom is stable. Okay, am I clear? Next is the number of protons in the nucleus is equal to the number of electrons. This makes the atom electrically neutral. This is called electrical neutrality of atom. The first one is the structural stability of the atom, and this is electrical neutrality of the atom. This question is coming, why atom is electrically neutral? Explain. Now, atomic number. The number of protons present in the nucleus of an atom is called atomic number. This is usually denoted by Z. As in an atom, the number of protons is equal to number of electrons. The atomic number of an element with the charge 0, if the charge is 0, is also called the number of electrons. Now, atomic number Z is equals to number of protons is equals to number of electrons. Now, suppose if it is said number of protons of an atom is equals to 6. Okay, then what is its atomic number? So it is 6 because the number of proton is 6. You know that atomic number is equals to number of proton. But suppose it is said number of electron is 4. So what is its atomic number? So atomic number is not the number of electron, but you know that in an atom, number of electron is equals to number of proton. So if number of electron is 4, number of proton is also equals to 4. And you know that number of proton is equals to atomic number. So if the number of electron 4 is given, its atomic number is also equals to 4. Am I clear? Based on the atomic number of different elements, they are arranged in a tabular form called modern periodic table. In the next class, you will learn about the modern periodic table. Mass number. The total number of protons and neutrons present in the nucleus of an atom is called mass number. It is usually denoted by letter A. So, if an element with symbol X and the atomic number Z and the mass number A is generally represented in this way. X, A, Z. The number of neutrons is equal to mass number A minus number of proton. Okay. The atomic number and the mass number of first 20 elements are given here. You have to learn it. You know about it. You have already done it. the atomic number and the mass number of first 20 elements is just a repetition of the last class. The atomic number hydrogen is 1. The atomic number of helium is 2. Atomic number of lithium is 3. Like that, beryllium 4, boron 5, carbon 6, nitrogen 7, oxygen 8, fluorine 9, neon 10, sodium 11, magnesium 12, aluminium 13, silicon 14, phosphorus 15, sulfur 16, chlorine 17, argon 18, potassium 19 and calcium 20. So you have to learn the symbols also. I'm just writing the symbol here. Hydrogen is H, helium is He, lithium is Li, beryllium is Be, boron B, carbon C, nitrogen N, oxygen O, fluorine F and neon Ne. Sodium Na, magnesium Mg, aluminium Al, silicon Si, phosphorus P, sulfur S, chlorine Cl, argon Ar, potassium K and calcium Cl. Now, atomic number is very easy to remember, but the mass number is little difficult. So, the first one, hydrogen, is a special type. Atomic number is also 1, mass number is also 1. You have to learn that. Now, I'm just giving you a trick to remember the mass number from atomic number. If the element is having even atomic number, the mass number of that element, just double it. See, helium is 2. It's an odd even number. Just double it. It's 4. Come here, see oxygen. It is an even number. Its mass number is just double, 16. See neon. It is 10. Even number. Its mass number is just double, 20. Okay. Now, if the atomic number is odd one, it's an odd number, then the mass number will be double it and add 1. Double plus 1. Just see here. See for lithium 3. Now lithium is 3, so just double it. It's an odd number. 3 2s are 6 plus 1. That means 6 plus 1, that is 7. See, sodium is 11, odd number, so just double it. 22 plus 1, 23. Okay, in this way you can remember it. Only 3 exceptions are there. The first exception is beryllium. I'm just showing it with the green color. Beryllium is 4th. It is an even number, so it should be just double. So its mass number should be 8, but it is 9. So this is an exception. Next exception is nitrogen. Nitrogen, it's having an atomic number 7, which is an odd number. It should be double plus 1. So the mass number should 15. It is 14. Okay, this is 14. You have to remember. And the third one is argon. See, argon is having atomic number 18. It is an even number, so it should be 36, just double, but it is 40. So please remember these 3. And one more I want to tell you here. Chlorine is showing 35, but actual atomic number of chlorine is 35, mass number is 35.5. The mass number of chlorine is 35.5. So you will write 35.5 only. Okay. Isotopes. Atoms of the same element having same atomic number but different mass number are called isotopes. Atoms of the same element having same atomic number but different mass number are called isotopes. This means isotopes of an element will have the same number of protons because atomic number same and electrons but different number of neutrons. Mass number is different. Atomic number same means they are having same number of protons but mass number is different. That means number of neutrons is different. See that hydrogen has 3 isotopes. One is protium, another is deuterium, third is tritium. All these 3 are having same atomic number 1, 1 and 1. And mass number 1, 2 and 3. So, the 3 isotopes of hydrogen is having different number of neutrons. The first one is having no neutrons. The second one is having 1 neutron and the third one is having 2 neutrons. Okay, all the 3 isotopes have the same atomic number but different atomic mass. That is 1, 2 and 3 respectively. Clear? Along with this, the chapter Structure of Atom ends here. Please go through the videos carefully and learn whatever given to you and consult your book for the better understanding.